Hello and welcome to EBAday 2022. I'm Hannah Wallace, and kindly joining me now in the studio to discuss payment trends in Europe and the future of real-time Treasury, a really interesting one, is Michele Zaquine and Richard Stansbury from HSBC. Hello to the both of you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, Hannah. I'm really pleased to be here this morning.
Good morning.
It's great. Thanks for the opportunity.
No problem at all. This is a really interesting one and a space that holds a lot of potential, doesn't it? Real-time Treasury and, of course, trends in Europe. But I want to start looking at regulation and the type of opportunities that are developing from that around innovation and customer propositions. Michele.
Terrific. Well, regulation, as we know, is very important. It's part of our lifeline in our environment. But I think the role it plays is really promoting growth. So it's very important from our point of view that we be able to adapt to how regulations are allowing for frameworks and the opportunity for the different actors within the chain to be working efficiently end-to-end. But what are we talking about when we talk about this? We're talking about technology having become a great enabler, right? And because technology has become an enabler, and because the payment landscape has exploded, right? Yeah. We need to put in some safeguards, and it's normal that regulators should come in. So actually, when we look at this, we need to understand what it's doing and how it's going to protect the end-to-end opportunities and the end-to-end payment chain. So if we take a step back and we look at PSD2 and what PSD2 has done for the landscape, in fact, yes, it's created that legal framework and it's allowed for the different partners and actors to operate, but it's especially allowed fintechs, PSPs, to operate within clear boundaries. And in fact, it has created that foundation for innovative solutions that we are all looking at today. And as we sit here at EBAday and look forward to all the panel discussions, we're going to hear about all these innovative solutions that are being provided to our end customers at the end of the day. And what it means is that we in Europe have actually opened the door to open banking, right?
Yeah, you're right, Michele, and we have opened the door to open banking. And in fact, when we look across the globe, we see the emergence of open banking programs in many other countries. The UK is obviously leading, Europe is absolutely a fast follower. We're seeing open banking solutions coming forward in the US, in MENAT, in Hong Kong, in Singapore. And there's some commonality around the schemes. They're typically driven by the desire to create structured frameworks to give secured customer exchange between players in the ecosphere. It's about being able to give certainty to particularly consumers that their data is being protected. And when we think about where this has been successful in the UK, actually it's the account information service provider stories that have been particularly successful. So as a consumer, I have the ability to use open banking actually without necessarily realizing it. Perhaps when I'm applying for a mortgage or a credit card or insurance or some other personal financial products, the financial provider is using an open banking framework to go and validate who I am, to check my KYC information perhaps, to validate that I exist, I'm a real person, to also then take a look and see what my financial profile is. So having just gone through an application myself for a lovely car, I didn't have to go through and provide endless information about my income, about my expenses, because the financial provider was able to glean that with my consent from my account directly. And I think that's a real-world example of how we're seeing AISP open banking solutions delivering value for consumers.
Well, you've highlighted some incredibly exciting developments there. Thank you very much for both setting the scene. And of course, we're going to be speaking a lot about digitalization during EBAday as well, which underpins a lot of that. But Richard, tell us, what's driving this digitalization today, and how have you seen the industry respond so far?
Yeah, it's a great topic, and as you said, it's prime and centre of EBAday. Of course, it's nothing terribly new. Banks and other financial institutions have been working with our customers to digitise payment journeys and interactions for many years. What's really supercharged this, though, is the pandemic and the impact that has had on our customers' customer journey. What was exciting was that the rails that create this for our customers already existed. APIs, for instance, have been around for many years, and it was fantastic that the technology existed for our customer's customer to experience a digitised journey when we move through the pandemic there. I think in the payments world we've seen that particularly in account-to-account payments. The pandemic gave rise to increased requirements to be able to collect directly from customers, and real-time payments helped create the wheels to be able to do that.
Well, that's exactly so. And if we go back to the comments we were making earlier on with open banking, it's actually really accelerated these kinds of solutions where the data and payments can be initiated and data can be consumed, and these operations become seamless, and they really respond to the expectations of consumers of being able to pay in a convenient and safe environment, and at the same time for corporates that are selling to be able to manage their data end to end and be able to reconcile. So it's actually quite interesting to see how that's evolved in the last 18 months, I would say, to a great extent.
Yeah.
It's really been quite boosted.
And the speed it's developed as well, I think, is fascinating. So taking all of that into account then, and the way we're seeing Treasury transform and how those demands are going to be met in the future, that's going to be right at the front of the mind of those cash management professionals, isn't it, Michele? So that brings me on to this idea of real-time Treasury. Tell us, what trends are we seeing in the space, and how is this going to shape the future of Treasury?
So I think Treasury transformation and real-time Treasury is it's at the heart and soul of treasurers. And what is it about? It's about being able today, in the world we live in that's very fast moving, is the capacity to make real-time decisions. They have to be effective, but to be able to make real-time decisions, you have to have the right tools in place. And that's where a treasurer needs to be very close to his banking partners and providers to see what are the tools. In fact, when we take a step back and we look at what happened during the pandemic, those customers that hadn't set themselves up correctly realized that they didn't have the right visibility on cash. They couldn't make the right decisions, and cash was trapped. So what we're seeing today with our customers is this appetite to revisit their end-to-end processes and be able to put in place the right tools according to the needs they have. So it can be anything from putting virtual accounts in place because they're looking to rationalize accounts and do natural cash concentration. It could be putting in place corporate Treasury APIs. Why? Because they need to get a view of the payments coming in and be able to release the goods. But it could also be more engaging projects like revamping their TMS or ERP systems, or it could be migrating to ISO 20022 globally. It's a number of things that corporates will address because they're looking to create those efficiencies that will make them a lean organization ready for the future. I think so. It's about constantly preparing the future and being close to the partners that they need to be close to get to that position.
That's a really good way of putting it.
And I think, Michele, too, real-time payments also still have have a role to play here. We talk a lot about some common journeys. They come up a lot. We'll hear them today, no doubt, in the plenaries around disbursement of urgent payments, travel disruption, insurance claims, and also with the emergence of the gig economies, people who need to be paid immediately. I've completed a drive for a ride-sharing app. I'd like my cash straight away. These treasurers talk to us about how the changing business environment that they are operating in brings them new demands for different types of payment instruments. And I think the scheme limit increase in Europe has certainly helped, and we look forward to further increases in that regard. In the UK, of course, the faster payment scheme has just gone up to £1 million, and we're already seeing how that helps to drive business-to-business payments, which is really what we're here to achieve. It's a legitimate payment instrument for the future.
Sure. Watch this space, it's safe to say.
Yeah, always.
And the ecosystem is no doubt developing then in an ever more integrated world. I'm sure you'll agree.
Yes.
So in summary then, what impact is this having on banking services as a whole, Richard?
I think the frontier that we're certainly most interested and excited about at the moment is the way platforms are going to change the way we deliver financial services. We've spent a lot of time, energy and effort delivering proprietary web platforms. Banks have their own internet banking for consumers, business, corporate platforms, etc. But what we're starting to see is the disintermediation of that. and we imagine a future where we're delivering financial services directly into the end user application. Perhaps it's an accounting package or some other types of platforms. Yeah, we imagine a future where, as a user of an accounting package, I'm directly accessing financial services for working capital, or perhaps I'm requesting a new virtual account when I'm creating a new customer relationship in my accounting tool. Yeah, these are really exciting user journeys, and HSBC is super excited about the future of cash management and the opportunities that that's going to bring to our customers.
I think that's the key word there, isn't it? Opportunities, lots to be had. Look, I'll let you get back to the event. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. It's such an exciting space. And thank you very much.
Thank you.